Hey guys, it's Emma here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to take you through one of my signature bronze and glowy makeup looks that I get a lot of requests from you guys about. So stay tuned. This is Coco. Stay tuned and we will get started now. Okay, here we go. Okay, so on myself and a lot of my clients, but not all the time, I like to prep the skin with Videographer Body Blur, or also their Beauty Blur is amazing. Now, a lot of you do ask how to use this because you only need a little amount, depending on how dark you want to go, how tan you want to look, because obviously this is ideal for the body as well, but you can use it on the face, even though it says Body Blur. Actually says on the back of the writing as well. None of this video is endorsed, by the way. This is just products that I like to use on myself and also on my clients. As you can see, I've got no tan or anything on, and at the moment I've literally got moisturizer. One thing I do want to say about this stuff is don't use any kind of silicone primers or serums or face masks or anything like that underneath. Just literally have clean skin, and then just apply your normal moisturizer as you will. If you are especially oily, then keep this to the circumference of the face, which I'm going to show you how I do it. And then around the T-zone area, use a mattifying oil control moisturizer. I don't always use too many primers. We can talk about that in another video actually. If I do, then it's mainly around the T-zone area for mattifying purposes or for pore control and things like that. Anyway, on to this good stuff. So I'm going to be using a bit of Latte Light and Latte because I want to show you a real difference between how I look now and what the finished product I want you guys to see. So I'm going to apply, this is the Latte Light. I'm using the dual-ended Heavenly Luxe brush, one of my favorites from It Cosmetics, to buff in the product. I think I might add a little of the latte afterwards, but for right now, as you can see, I'm just going around the temples and then around the edges of my face. I'm gonna add a little bit of the latte, but generally for the face, Latte Light, sorry, is all you'll need, especially for those fair ones out there. And generally what I'll do is I will buff in around the outer edges and then all around the neck as well. This is definitely for that bronze, glowy, tan look. Don't forget your ears, girls and guys, and definitely the neck area. Now this stuff does dry and it's somewhat water resistant. Now, as you can see, I'm kind of keeping the middle section free for when I go in with a little bit of foundation and concealer. But I'm just like really, and I'm using this in kind of a whirling, buffing motion. You can use your fingers, but I prefer to use a brush. And I'm bringing this all round. And as you can see, this is really warming up the skin. Just a little bit in the middle. Don't forget this area if you are wearing low-cut tops, blazers. It will dry. It doesn't transfer onto clothing once it's dry. I mean, obviously to a degree, if you're rubbing up and down stuff. That sounds a little bit odd. You get my drift. Don't rub up and down against things. Okay. Okay, on to the next step. Now I am doing myself pretty sort of full glam today, so I'm using I don't even sometimes use a foundation as a day-to-day. I'll use concealers, and you can look at my first video that we put here on YouTube, my kind of 10-minute go-to everyday makeup. So resort back to that one for that purpose. But today I'm doing a full-on one of my signature bronzy glow looks. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit of foundation. This is Aqua foundation by Becca Cosmetics. One of my all-time favorites. Love this stuff. Now I am going in, again, I'm going to use this brush. To the T-zone area. And I'm going to buff out. And then once I've done this, I do a little bit over the eyes as well. And I only ever put concealer on the eyelids and the whole eye area as primer. People ask me a lot, do I do eyeshadow primers? I don't, I never have. My eyeshadow primer is concealer. Okay, so I do this. And I'll sometimes go in with a damp, very damp, blender. Okay, so that's the amount of actual foundation that I've used. I've kind of just used it around the T-zone area and buffed it out. I've not kind of rubbed it all around this area. Depending on how much full coverage you like, the body blur does give, and their beauty blur as well, does give a nice amount of coverage as well. Obviously you can sheer it out as much as you like, but it does give a nice blur to the skin. So people that don't like wearing too much makeup, then something like that and a little bit of concealer, you're done. Okay. Now on to concealer. I love to do the face. I say the face. I love to do the skin first. Today I'm going to be using a little bit of the Under Eye Brighteners by Becca Cosmetics, and I'll generally, depending on, again, if I've gone tan or if I'm cooler, I will mix a little bit of the lighter, light to medium and the medium to dark to suit. Concealers, it depends on what I'm grabbing for my own personal use. I love the MAC Studio Finish Pro palettes, and I also like the Creamy Radiant by NARS. There's lots of other ones I love. Stretch Concealer by Glossier. I could go on. We can talk about that on another time. So for right now, I'm going to be using today the MAC Pro palette Studio Finish. And I like these because you can really mix the exact colour that you want that's good for your skin. So anyone out there that doesn't have a clue about concealers and how to mix, with these palettes, you get the whole batch of the peach and the cooler and the warmer. So you'll definitely be able to find your colour in and what you need to counter correct any darkness or blueness under the eye. So these are great for actually anyone, I think, not just pro artists, but anyone that doesn't really have an idea about how to easily correct under the eye. Generally speaking, if you just get one concealer, it doesn't always fix a problem if you have bad under eye circles. That could be another whole nother tutorial. Okay, moving on. So with the brightener, I'll generally just use my fingers a little bit. And I'll go in I'm always cleaning up as I go along. Okay. Okay, now I'm using the palette. I'm actually going to use the palette today. This is the medium color palette, and I'm using a bit of the peach and the NC. I think this is 20. Yeah, 30, 25, NC 30, NC 30, and the NW 25. And I'm putting this all around the T-zone area. And I always go around the lip area. I clean up the lips afterwards with a Q-tip. I'll take it all into this area around the T-zone area. So generally with the concealer, what I do is I almost create that highlight and contour by using concealers and bronzers. So for instance, I have two little indents, slight indentations, very slight, but around my chin area here. And I just pop these with the lighter, I pop these areas with the lighter concealer. This is when I'm doing like a full-on makeup like this. I like to use my finger because I really kind of press it into the skin. And I'll take it all the way up to the brow. And then all the way over. And then with my fingertip, lots of patting and lots of dabbing. Pat, 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 dab, dab, dab. And for me, one of the main techniques as well is really about lots of different, especially if you want a full-on makeup that's going to last all day, but yet you still look like you're not wearing absolutely tons, is all about the technique and the lots of thin layers, as opposed to putting on something and not applying it well, and then a few hours later people message me and be like, my makeup hasn't lasted. So it is all about the technique, how you apply it, and the kind of thin layers that you will apply over each other. So again, taking it all the way up to the brow bone. This is my eyeshadow eye primer. I know a lot of you ask about the primers for the eye, but I've never used any other, on myself or my clients, I've never used any actual eyeshadow primers. Sorry, that's my phone pinging. Okay. And I've also got pretty deep, because I smile a lot, I've got quite deep smile lines down this area. So what I'll tend to do is just pop them with slightly lighter concealer to bring that area out. So remember, anything you want brought out, highlighted, going with a lighter concealer. Anything you want sunken in, going with a darker concealer or darker foundation or darker actual contour powders. Sorry, that's our Bengal cat, if you can hear it in the background. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the blush, a little bit of blush and bronzer for warmth contour. I will add and use certain bronzers to contour, add warmth, as opposed to going in with an actual severe contour, if that makes sense. I'm just going to show you. I think that's best. As you can see, I'm going along. I'm now still not using any setting powders. I like to do those kind of things nearer the end. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of blush. I'm going to be using the blush cream from the Bloom palette by from Natasha Denona. Love this palette. And I always smile. You get yourself, the clients, smile and put it on the apple of the cheek. The under eye area, I'm not sure how it's looking now on the camera, but I actually will be tweaking that nearer the end after I've done the eye makeup. But I just like to get something down as opposed to the under eye not being done at all. But I'm always buffing and cleaning up that area. And so it's not, the under eye actually is not quite finished, but I'm just leaving it. I'm leaving it for now. Okay, so I've added a bit of the blush. Now I'm going in with bronzers for extra warmth contour. There's a few that I love. The Marc Jacobs palettes just are the best. Tantastic and Tantric. This one is Tantastic. And also Tan Lines by Lorac Cosmetics is a great colour. None of them have got shimmers in, so you can use them for a little bit of warmth contour to a degree. Also Deep by Galactic is a great one. Okay, so love this brush. I've been since they sent it to me, gosh, when it first came out over a year ago, the vegan line of brushes from Revlon. Just love these. This is actually a contour, and it's actually called Contour Blush and Contour. If you can see in the camera, it's thicker at the top and then narrows out, tapers in. It's great for that kind of like area to kind of, and then you can like buff out the apple of the cheek. But this is great for adding warmth and contour to the face. So I always go into the temple area to warm up the forehead, and then I bring it round to contour that cheekbone. So I've actually been patting on both of these, kind of mixing them in both. I generally won't use just one. I will if I'm going for my go-to makeup, which again, like I said, it's up on YouTube. It's the first video I ever posted. Go check it out. But yeah, you can literally just have a couple of products and you're done. Now, when people say about the whole setting powder thing, generally for me, unless someone is excessively oily, but also you can counteract that with the way you prep the skin to begin with, but overly loading the face with setting powders at the end, generally I won't do anyway, because it kind of creates that, it can create that cakey feeling. You look like you're wearing too much makeup. It doesn't always look as skin-like. You want that kind of dewiness to come through still. So I don't always use too many setting powders. I'll kind of selectively use in certain areas where I don't want it to be reflective as much, if that makes sense. Okay, so we brought it round. And again, you just want to kind of like, if you want it, generally when I'm doing this look on myself for an event or, you know, something like that, actually for an event, I was going to say going out. I never do this on myself when I'm just going out. don't. You know, I do, when I'm in the mood, want to, you know, I go to town and like, you know, do my face properly. So I like to be a little bit more chiseled. So I will think of it when you blow out of your mouth and your face tapers in. That's why everyone does a lot of the kisses in selfies and stuff, because you'll get that sunken area. So that is the area that you want to, for anyone that's watching that hasn't got an absolute clue of things like this, that's who I'm directing this to. A lot of people will be like, move on, I know that already. But you really want to get that kind of sunken in area, if you can see, like from here. And then what I'd also say is definitely take a moment and stand back from the mirror. We all like to put our, I do as well, generally we'll put our makeup on very close. Your face is very close to the mirrors, and then you can step back and sometimes you can be like, oh, whoa. So I always say to people, especially that's not used to wearing a lot of makeup or doesn't do their makeup that often or is just trying new things out, do something and then take a step back and kind of do a little pan of the face for different sides and angles, and you can really see with the lighting where you need to either, great background noise we've got going on here now, it's fine, where you need to either add a little bit more or subtract a bit. It's just makeup, guys. You can take it off whenever you want. That's the fun of it, so don't be afraid. There's been many a times, I'm not gonna lie, I've looked at myself and whoa, way too much blush on myself there, but it's fine, you know, it's fine. It's just makeup, take it off. Okay, so I'm gonna do the other side. Okay, another thing I love to do is really contour and structure the jawline and this under. I've always, for instance myself, I've always had this soft kind of like pouchy little skin under my chin, a little kind of like, seriously, look at this. I don't know what it looks like on there, but I've got people are, you're going to screenshot that, I know, I love it, it's fine. I'm keeping it real, people, I'm keeping it real. So generally, I'll go along the chin, the jawline, and what you want to do is almost, if you can see where the brush is going, is kind of half going, it's half underneath and then half a little bit on top. So again, you only want to do a little bit or a lot. Of you might want to do a lot. But always remember to definitely taper in that jawline, and then under the area of the chin, dust under here and then bring it down. So in this area you bring it down here, and if you bring it down this side just below the earlobe, around here and here, you're going to really give that elongated illusion of a kind of tapered in, contoured neckline and jawline. But remember to blend, 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 buff, buff, buff. And if you're trying something like this for the first time, definitely do a little bit and then step back, do a little pan, and then go back in and see what needs to be tweaked. So now I'm just like making sure all this neck area is blended and buffed. And then I will also, I'm going to use a bigger powder buffing brush just to kind of make sure you get this. So now I'm going over that body blur with a little bit of bronzing powder. I think I digressed earlier, but what I was trying to say is when you're going into the skin with some bronzing powders, you're already setting the area. Do you see what I mean? So for instance, this is bronzer, but it's a powder. So a lot of people, if you had a setting powder now that was translucent, it's still powder. This is just a coloured powder. Does this make sense? So you're kind of already setting your makeup in certain areas, not the T-zone area, but definitely in certain areas. People will tend to go in all over the face with a translucent or a setting powder and then do bronzers. So you can see all those powders will all add up, and that's what leaves the skin dull looking, cakey looking. Too many powdered layers will just create more dryness. A lot of people with even a little bit of oily skin always think, oh my God, I need to powder. You really don't. If you have excessive oily skin, then I would suggest passing a little bit. The two kind of or powders that I have out here is the La Mer sheer pressed powders, and then Narcissist crystal translucent powder, and also the under eye brightening powder by Becca Cosmetics. All these lids over here, and then the sheer press by, love these ones by Creme de la Mer. As you can see, it's I've had it for a while, it's worn. If you have excessive, I don't, so I'm only going to show you, I'll do a tiny little bit just to show you, but prior to the eyeshadow you can place a little bit of powder, translucent powder, over this socket area. If you have excessive dry skin, then I wouldn't. It's fine, you don't have to necessarily add a setting powder to that, because you're going to be putting eyeshadows on top, so that's going to also set it. Okay, so onto eyes now. With the same bronzers that I used to contour and warm the skin, I'm going into the socket with those said bronzers. So this is just a bronzer. I'm going to take it into the socket out on the outer edge mainly, and then buff and whirl the brush. If you're not used to doing this kind of thing, again, maybe have another brush with you. For myself, will just kind of go in with one brush. And again, depending on how light or dark you want your makeup to be. Okay, now with this same bronzer, I am going in, take a smaller tapered brush, and I'm now going to go in under the lower lash. Now again, remember, this is literally just the same bronzer that I've used on the face. Okay, so, and again, this is just the bronzer. And what I would like to state is I'm using several different products here to create the look that I like to do on myself. But literally, I have done this look when I'm more stretched for time, and literally with one said bronzer as opposed to using two. You literally can create this look by using like four different products, like the bronzer, a little bit of blush, whichever you choose, a cream blush or a powder blush, and this this metallic cream eyeshadow, and a mascara. You can actually achieve the look by not having to use and have several different products. You can just achieve it with just a few. Okay, so next up, I'm going to be adding Rose Gold Retro, which is from Stila, and it's a metallic eyeshadow. And I'm just going to be using my finger, actually. I'm going to dab this to the eyelid. It's a little bit wet, and so you can blend as you go, and then it will set and dry. So you can actually shear these out, which are great, or you could even make it to a liquid liner, depending on what you wanted to do for your look. I'm just looking for a flat brush here to go into the corners, but if you haven't got one, just use your pinky finger. I'm going to show you on your pinky finger. And then when you look in the mirror, for me it's over here, but you literally will get the angle you want to put it on and then look down. So look down this way for this eye. So you put it on here and then you look down. You just dab that in gently to that inner corner. Okay? So if you haven't got a brush or you can't be bothered to use, just look down there. And you're going to bring that into that inner corner. Again, look down this way. And also for time wise, you might just be like, I can't be bothered to use 10 brushes, so I'm just going to use my fingers. Use your fingers. I do it often. Also with the tip of this, I sometimes add a little bit to the center of the lower lash line. So by adding this to the center of the lower lash line, that is where the highlight is going to pop more. So in pictures, with light reflection, you're gonna see this area pop brighter. I don't know if a lot of you will notice in pictures, professional pictures as well, sometimes they'll like brighten that under eye area a little bit with the whiteness. Well, that area there is where you see it, and it will really make the eye pop and brighten it up. Okay, next up, I am going to do the brows quickly to give a bit more structure to the eye area. This is the Dior Brow Styler. So I've not finished the eyes. I'm just looking at myself and I want to get the brows done next. Okay, I'm just finishing my brows. I've not spent too much time on the brow talking about the brows because up on my YouTube channel is a full-on brow tutorial which you can go check out. If anything, I'm just cleaned up underneath here with a little bit of the lighter concealer. Okay, now I'm going to go in to the roots of the lashes with a little bit of these two here. I'm just going to mix a tapered in brush to these two colours here, just to give a bit more depth to the roots of the lashes. I'm not going to create a liner per se, because I don't want that. I don't like that on myself. I'm just going to go in. And I'm almost doing a press and dab. And then underneath to the outer edge. Just into the roots. Just press and dab. Can you see the difference? It's very slight. I'm just pressing it into the root of the lash line. Also, this would be great and is great for anyone that doesn't like to wear lower and under eye mascara. Some people don't like to do that also because they're not used to how to get the mascara so it doesn't like drop onto the skin. I suggest when that happens, you just get a small fan brush, and I'll show you afterwards. I just like these fan brushes, and then literally you'll just place a little bit of mascara into the roots of the lashes, as opposed to bringing it all the way down to the length of your lashes. Okay, now I'm just going to pat on a little bit more of this shadow, mainly just to the center of the eyelid. Again, the center of your eyelid is the area that's more prominent and that will pop more when you close and open your eyes. So for light purposes and reflection, that is what's really going to pop. So I'm just adding a little bit more just to the center of the eye. Sometimes it's pretty, I'm not going to do it today, but you could kind of bring up a little bit more of the sparkle into the center here. I'm actually going to add to the outer edge a little bit more of the bronzer. See the difference? Just adding a bit more depth and bringing it out. So it's almost going onto the brow, onto the bone, onto your socket, brow socket if you like. The bone just above it, and then you're kind of bringing it out and buffing it. And then I'm going to add a little bit more to this outer edge here, just to kind of bring the eye out a little bit more. And again, this is just bronzer. So if you didn't add any depth to the roots of the lashes, I've literally used these two products so far for the eyes. I mean, apart from the brows, but that's all I've used. But again, with the way you layer it, or how you apply, how less or more you apply, you can create different dimensions by buffing it out and using a little. You can just add a hue of colour that's going to just give a little something, but certainly, you know, it wouldn't give this. So again, it's also about, you know, a lot of it is to do with, you know, the application and your technique and what and how much of the product you're using. Okay. Next, I am going to curl my lashes. I don't always curl lashes because, again, you can manipulate with the tools you use. You can manipulate the lashes a great deal with the zigzag motion, pulling up, zigzag motion, pulling up. But as long as you're getting into the real root of the lash, you can do that. You won't be able to if you're just going to go wipe. Good fan brushes. Yeah, fan brushes, these tools, and even using angle brushes, I will manipulate lashes with. This is a Shimura, I think, eyelash curler. The Xtra eyelash curlers are amazing as well. Yeah, the Xtra ones, the Shimura ones. Give it a good little pump. Yeah. Oh no, this one's also the Shimura. This is Space NK. This is a great one, Space NK. Okay, so on myself, I've got a few different mascaras that I'm loving right now and that are always staples in my kit. Well, these two are definite staples in my kit. The Dior Backstage, the Voluminous by L'Oreal. I always have waterproof ones as well. But I'm also loving right now the Fenty Beauty Full Frontal and the BUXOM. This one is the Xtrovert. Which one am I going to use? I'm going to use the BUXOM. And then you want to kind of look, put it in the root of the lash, look down, and then pull up. Giving it a good wiggle. Giving it a good wiggle along the way. Okay, on myself, I will use just the actual, like you've seen, I will actually use the wand from the mascara thing. On clients, I will always use spoolies, and then I will use my tools to create the lash. For the lower lash line, take the mascara wand and scrape off at the end excess mascara, okay? And then I vertically will tap in and almost dab into the root of the lash. And then I use my finger and I brush back and forth here. And then I just wipe that. And then I go in again, depending on how dramatic I want the lashes to look. Or if you want to create that dolly effect and really kind of, but I always go to the edge of the lash with my finger and I take off the excess. Okay, now to really make that under eye pop, the waterline, I'm going to use Marc Jacobs fine liner. This one's Big Eyes. This skin coloured one, which is pretty as well, is called Nudist, and I use these both depending on the kind of look I want. Okay, that one was Big Eyes, and I'm going to show you the on this side. I'll go back in and even this one's Nudist. So this one is more skin. It will definitely counteract redness and everything like that. Generally, I'll kind of use this one a lot. But for this purpose, I really want to kind of like make it pop even more. So I'm going to just, but you can see that this is Nudist and this is Big Eyes, which is the white, yeah, which is the white one. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit of lip and then finish off with the cheek finish that I want to do and just under eye concealer. Now I'm going to go in with a lip. I'm going to use Coco by Marc Jacobs as a pencil. First, before the lip pencil, I'm going to be using a Q-tip and I'm just going to take off any excess foundation. See? And I'm just going to take it literally, I'm not going to overdraw my lip, but I'm just going to go to the edge, very edge of my lip line. So again, if you're a person that likes a matte lip, you can just use a pencil. Pencil and a little bit of balm, lip balm, done. Or not even balm, it depends on how matte you like it. I'm not a matte person. Do the edges. Light, very lightly, so you can still see the outline is a lot darker. Okay, now I'm going to use a little bit of Insight by Bare Minerals to the middle of the lip. To top the lip, I'm going to use a little bit of Fenty Sweet Mouth. Just to the middle section. Okay, so I finished the lip. Before I go in now and add all my finishing touches. I'm just going to go in and tweak certain areas that I want to pop and then also clean up. So I'm adding a little bit more of the liquid metallic eyeshadow to the inner corners and then just to that under eye section here. And then I'm going to pat on a little bit more. See, so it's, see the difference? This is now dried, so you can afford to kind of go in and layer on any more extra shadow that you want for it to pop a bit more. Okay, I'm taking a little bit more concealer now. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of contour warmth to my nose area. I'm gonna add a tiny amount of, just with my shadow brush actually, and the same bronzer, I'm just gonna tweak the nose a little bit, just at the end here. And then I'm just gonna, a little bit on the sides. You can really bring it up and create, it all depends on the kind of look you're going for and what you wanna, but you can really bring it up and like create that real strong contour. Okay, so lastly, I think it's lastly, I'm going to add two things to really give that highlighting pop. First, I'm going to add a little bit of the Champagne Pop by Becca Cosmetics just to the high points. So I've patted it on with a flatter brush. I'm just going to just to the high points. And I go in on top of the highlighter with the balm. All of you know I love to add my glowy balms. And I'm generally mixing balms all the time to create my perfect little glow. Okay, there's so many balms I love, and I'm always forever mixing balms, and I love complete kind of glitter-free, shimmer-free balms, but as well. But I'm also loving right now is the Chanel Sculpting multi-use balm. This one is called Sculpting, I believe. Yep, Sculpting. And it kind of gives almost like a wet look as well. You see the colouring? And I'm just going to pat this all around this area. Love a good dewy, glowy balm. Okay, guys, I think we are wrapping up. And again, you know, there's all different things you can tweak and change. Some of you would just like that complete bronze cheek and more of a coral bronzy, you know, bronzer as opposed to a blush. I sometimes do that myself. And this one here, the Duo Glow in the Bloom palette is amazing as well, which is a coral apricot colour. That's phenomenal one. Hey, buddy! You scared me. Well, you didn't scare me. You made me jump. I didn't know you were there. Mummy's just done with makeup. Look. What do you think? Come and sit on my lap. Okay, so great timing. I've just all finished now. So we've I've finished one of my signature bronzy glowy bronze glowy makeup looks that I love to do for events when I'm going out. And yeah, Coco, how often do you see Mummy like this? Not a lot, do you? You like it?
Yeah.
You do? Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we better wrap up now. I hope you've enjoyed. Comment below. Comment below what your thoughts are. Any other questions and queries. Hit me up on Instagram, Emma Willis Makeup. And you want to put some on?
Yeah.
That's almost for your eye, buddy. It's not for your lip. But Emma, I bet that probably could look really good on your lip. Put it on your lip. Let's see what it looks like.
No.
And let me know your thoughts. What you'd like to see next. I will also be doing another hair tutorial. And yeah, any of your suggestions and
Is this for your lips?
That's for your eyes. But you can try it on your lips. I think it'll look really good on your lips. I think that would look really good. Put it on the lower lip. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something from it. Or maybe you haven't. Maybe you knew what you were doing. Really pretty. And I hope to see you next time. Remember to subscribe so then you know when I've dropped the next video. I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent.
Subscribe down below.
Subscribe down below. Is that what they have to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, she watches YouTube Kids, so she knows everything. Way more than I do. So, subscribe down below. What else do they need to do?
Goodbye.
Oh, goodbye. Okay, can you say goodbye for me?
Goodbye.
All right, guys. I will see you next time. Over and out. Yeah.
Okay.
Take care. Coco, should we say bye?
Bye.
Bye.